within our state to step up to the call of action. And by the end of the summer, when that did not happen, I became the change that I wanted to see. I became the leader that I was once looking for, and I entered the race. And what is so incredibly special about this campaign, Foster for Florida, is we advocate that we are the people's campaign. We are strictly volunteer-led. We are highlighting the voices of the people of this state and everyday working people. We are in an affordability crisis that needs to be addressed. There's a lack of economic opportunity. We deserve to have strong public schools. We deserve to be able to live in a state where you don't have to be afraid if you're an immigrant. We should have access to health care that is affordable. We should also have safer communities and the proper gun reformation taking place. And so with all of these things, and this is what our campaign is founded on, we've gained a lot of traction, momentum, support, because again, we are advocating for people and our policies match the voices of we the people.
I am so grateful that she's here sharing her vision for the state of Florida. None other than Ms. Dana Foster. You will see her on your ballot. We're talking about voting. This is a community forum. That means you can call in if you have a question. The number here at the studio is 850-446-0562. 850-446-0562. You can ask this lovely lady who is a candidate for governor. Once again, she is one of several folks who are running for governor of the state of Florida. And we wanted to have a community forum to allow the public to get to know her, to talk to her, to hear what her life experiences, why she decided to run, and where she stands on certain policies. So we'll get right into it, Ms. Dana Foster. And I want to ask you about cost of living, because affordability and the cost of living crisis is on the mind of every single person. We're live here throughout Miami-Dade. Shout out to everyone listening while they're driving home, all those who are in the Keys, Monroe County, all the way up to Broward, Palm Beach, St. Lucie. We love you and we hear you, and we thank you for being a part of our community here. So we're bringing you this forum just so that you can hear directly from those who are seeking your vote. So I want to ask you, Ms. Dana Foster, Florida continues to attract a lot of new residents, but many longtime Floridians are struggling, right, with the rising costs of groceries. Anybody feel this way? Housing costs, utilities. Honey, the light bill for the summer has been off the charts. And of course, many other necessities. Those of us who are, parents, I am not, but, people who are sending their children back to school, they feel it, man. They feel it. So talk to us about what is your vision and what specific actions would you take as governor to make Florida a more affordable place for working families?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So since one of our key areas of this campaign is addressing the affordability crisis, I'm really glad that you've asked this question. And when we think about the people who have lived in our state for generations, they should be able to afford to continue to live here and stay here. But instead, what we're seeing are constituents leaving Florida because it has become so unaffordable. And what we have to do is, through the meaningful policies and policy-based solutions, we have to address the rising costs of housing, of healthcare, of insurance, utilities, groceries, even the property tax issue, as well as expanding affordable housing, making sure that we're fighting for protecting our renters. And so some specific actions that I want to ensure are taken underneath a Foster administration is, number one, making sure that we are working to repeal the statewide ban on rent control in our state.
Miami.
This impedes or...
So I have a special guest, a lady who's running for governor, and we're doing a quick interview. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Friday.
And again, we're overstepping on that rule of home rule. I also want to ensure that what we are also doing is addressing the insurance issue, specifically homeowners insurance. And so the Office of Insurance Regulation falls underneath the oversight of the governor. And a key power of a governor for our state is the appointment of heads of state agencies. So the person who oversees the Office of Insurance Regulation would be the insurance commissioner. And so I would ensure that the person in this role is someone that is going to look out for the homeowners within our state that is well versed in all things insurance related, and making sure that we are not placing our constituents in positions that they're currently experiencing right now. One, we see that there is a lack of oversight where homeowners file a claim and they are waiting extended periods of time before their claim is actually resolved. And that should not be so, especially when we are in a state of emergency, like a hurricane has hit, and let's say a homeowner has filed a claim to ensure that their roof is fixed. That should be done in fashion. They shouldn't be having to wait weeks at a time, or even in some instances, months.
Yeah, I want to just jump in here because we're going to do a quick reset. There are a lot of people, I can see the numbers climbing, who have just joined us. So I want to make sure everyone, I'm not normally here at this time. It's drive time, right? That's usually Miss Candace Buchanan. We're pumping. We got the music going on. So everybody might be like, what's going on? Well, today is a special program here on Voice of the Caribbean. We're having a community forum so that you can hear directly from candidates who are running in this August election. If you have not been paying attention, if you have been living under a rock, maybe you just busy working, school, family. I get it. There's an election going on, y'all. And there are 2 more days left for early voting. That's all day Saturday, 10 to 7, all day Sunday. Souls to the Polls is this Sunday. So if you haven't voted early, that's where you can vote at any election location, polling site. But again, this is your time to do it, and don't have the stress of what happens on election day. Why? Because election day, which is next Tuesday in Florida, is when you have to go to your assigned precinct. Where you are assigned, based on your address, you have to go to that specific precinct to vote. So we're here with one of the candidates for governor. Her name is Miss Dana Foster. She is giving us a little bit about herself and her platform, why she chose to run for governor, and she's talking about property insurance. And I was going to ask her more about a lot of the stresses that people feel when it comes to homeowners, high insurance premiums, and concerns about, what to do to make this insurance market more stable. Specifically, we've been lucky, knock on wood, Florida hasn't seen as many hurricanes this year, knock on wood. But people are still paying very high insurance premiums. So you were telling us that one of the positions you would take as governor is to hire or select someone to serve within that role that would meet the needs of the people. Is that right?
Yes. So a key power of the governor of our state is going to be the appointment of heads of state agencies. So the individuals who run the state agencies. So as I was mentioning, with the Office of Insurance Regulation, that is overseen by the insurance commissioner. So I have the ability to appoint someone in that role of being the insurance commissioner who's going to ensure that they're looking out for homeowners within our state. I also have the ability to appoint the board that oversees our public resource of the citizens insurance. And so right now what we're seeing with constituents who have gone the route of having homeowners insurance, but through citizens, is the fact that they're filing a claim and their claims are being denied. And what good is having this resource if you're not going to be administered aid? So what we have to ensure is that the people that are overseeing this public good, that they're ensuring that it's working for the people. So when we're thinking about citizens, or even our
people who are in our community, there's a lot of divisiveness. So immigration is one of the most issues right now. Nationally has drawn a lot of conversation. So what should Florida's role be in immigration enforcement, even though we know their role, but how would you balance public safety, federal immigration law, and the rights of immigrant families?
So thank you for your question. Highlighted probably as often as I would like, but my family does come from the island of Jamaica. And my dad is from St. Elizabeth. My grandmother was from Kingston. My grandfather on my mother's side was from St. Mary's. And they all came to this country for a better life and for opportunity and to achieve.
Hey, Mandrell, I'm glad to see you. Thanks for chiming in. Hey, how you doing? Hit the like button, y'all. It's been a long day. My hair is so puffy. Gotta do double duty today. I'm gonna shoot to get monetized. I'm gonna try to get remonetized before the end of the year. So you're gonna see me probably at night or in the evenings talking to y'all, and we'll see what we talk about. So I used to do that during the pandemic and all that stuff, but we'll be back in action pretty soon. I hope everybody's doing well.
And working with general to work with local governments so that they can exit 287G agreements as well. These 287G agreements, you can think of them as permission slips for local law enforcement to help the and work alongside
having a
ICE.
wonderful day.
And at the end of the day, immigration is a federal policy. It is not state. That we must, in terms of to ensure that we are in compliance with federal law, as is in compliance with federal. And so we want to ensure that we are promoting safer communities with human being, inhumane policies, and ending this targeting of immigrant communities, and ensuring that we are helping where we can as a state on this journey of a clear and fair pathway to citizenship a home. So I have said that for the congressional candidates, right, they are the ones who can better effectively talk about, well, how do we replace ICE as an immigration enforcement organization? And so for those running for Senate and for the House of Representatives, you're in this space. And for me, I do support the abolishment of ICE because we are seeing people dying in our communities across this entire state and across this entire nation. And enough is enough.
All right. I'm here with Miss Dana Marie Foster. She's running for governor. You hear the music in the background. That's all right. We're going to let it play because we are getting ready to go to our first break. But I'm going to ask you one more question before we get to the break. I want to talk now about healthcare. A lot of us in this community around South Florida and our listening area online, we are very worried about our healthcare costs. And I wanted to know if you could tell us what your thoughts are when many Floridians are struggling with care and the costs, and when and how to access those, particularly in other communities, even in our rural communities, right? What your
in 2026, healthcare should not be a luxury. It's a human right. And the fact that we do not have a universal healthcare within this country is such a disservice, especially when we look at other countries across the pond, so to speak, and they have universal healthcare for their citizens. We should have the same here in the United States of America. And so when we see individuals like in my primary, like David Jolly, who had voted to repeal against the Affordable Care Act and going against having access to affordable and accessible healthcare within this country for our constituents and everyday working Floridians, we have to ensure that we are electing the correct person to be our Democratic nominee within this gubernatorial race. And so I have every intention and the plan to ensure that we are expanding Medicaid. Since Washington, D.C. is not going to look out for us, we must look out for ourselves. And millions of Floridians have been displaced because of the big ugly bill that was passed, even though they call it the big beautiful bill, which left constituents in this state particularly in such a vulnerable space. And so what we have to do is, again, we're putting people first. And the way that you put people first is through the expansion of Medicaid within the state, so that we're opening up the parameters to make more people qualified to be able to obtain health insurance within our state. To ensure that we are providing the financial infrastructure to make sure that preventative care as well as access to treatment is available across our entire state, investing in telehealth, making sure that we're investing in mental health as well, and making sure that we are expanding the opportunities and the access to doctors and other healthcare professionals in our rural and underserved areas across this entire state.
We're headed to our first break with this community forum, we want to thank Ms. Dana Foster. She's going to stick around, y'all. We're going to hear more from her. If you want to call in and ask her a question, she's running for governor of the state of Florida. Ms. Dana Marie Foster is on the line with us for today's community forum right here on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. We got to take a little bit of a break here, but the phone number to get in touch with us is 850-446-0562, 850-446-0562. More right after this.
Radio.
Your voice matters. Florida's primary election is Tuesday, August.
Person who is running for governor on the line, so we're here.
As a teen, I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. My school diploma at age 22.
It was an achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It is me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the app.
Let's breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Exhale very slowly. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by...
Good evening. It's Friday, August 14th, 2026, and this is your Voice of the Caribbean Evening News Update. We begin in Doral, where two UPS employees are accused of stealing and rerouting more than $100,000 worth of electronics from packages. Investigators identified the employees as 53-year-old Ruth Cristaldo and 52-year-old Jose Fernandez Correa. Both were arrested Thursday while working the night shift at the UPS facility at 13,350 Northwest 17th Street. According to arrest reports, Fernandez Correa, a package handler, allegedly targeted shipments containing cell phones, laptops, and tablets and moved their original labels. Cristaldo, an overgoods clerk, is accused of repacking the merchandise and creating new shipping labels. Investigators say one intercepted box contained 10 MacBooks and 3 Bose headphones, while another contained 40 and 2 Samsung phones. UPS estimates losses from the alleged scheme at more than $100,000. Both suspects are charged with organized fraud and second-degree grand theft. Broward County is stepping up to help victims of the devastating 7.4 magnitude earthquake in Colombia. Beginning Monday, the county will open 11 aid collection locations across Miramar, Coconut Creek, Coral Springs, Pembroke Pines, Plantation, Cooper City, Lauderhill, Sunrise, and Hollywood. Colombian officials reported Friday that the earthquake has killed at least 287 people, injured nearly 4,000, and affected more than 135,000. Requested donations include non-perishable food, first aid kits, hygiene supplies, sleeping bags, air mattresses, tarps, flashlights, batteries, pet supplies, and respirator masks. Clothing and linens will not be accepted. Local collection sites include Central Broward Park in Lauderhill, the Miramar Branch Library, TY Park in Hollywood, and Markham Park in Sunrise. And in Tallahassee, Florida voters will see new wording for Amendment 3, the property tax proposal on November's ballot. Attorney General James Uthmeyer issued the rewrite after Leon County Circuit Judge David Frank ruled the original ballot title and summary were biased, misleading, and inaccurate. The new language explains that the measure would raise the homestead exemption from non-school property taxes to $150,000 in 2027 and $250,000 in 2028, and reduce the annual assessment growth cap on non-homestead property from 10% to 5%. State analysts estimate the proposal could eventually reduce recurring local property tax revenue by nearly $12 billion a year. Governor Ron DeSantis, who supports the measure, says homeowners need relief from rising property taxes, while opponents warn local services could face cuts or other taxes and fees could rise. Amendment 3 requires 60% voter approval in November. University of Miami running back Jordan Lyle is facing charges following an arrest on a warrant from the Sunrise Police Department. The 20-year-old Fort Lauderdale native was arrested Thursday on charges of high-speed fleeing and eluding authorities and reckless driving, according to the Broward State Attorney's Office. Lyle posted a $55,000 bond and was released the same day. The University of Miami says it is aware of the incident, but will not comment further while the legal process continues. Prepare for a hot and steamy South Florida weekend. Temperatures tonight will remain warm and humid before Saturday highs climb into the lower 90s. Rain chances will be limited compared with a typical August weekend, although an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm remains possible. That's your Voice of the Caribbean evening news update. Have a safe Friday evening and a great weekend, and keep it locked to the Voice of the Caribbean.
The Voice of the Caribbean. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and
Welcome back. This is a special edition of Community Forum here on Voice of the Caribbean. I'm your hostess, Miss Suzette Speaks. Happy Friday, y'all. Y'all used to the Fire Friday. Well, this is a Fire Friday, but this is a more informative Fire Friday. We're here in the streets, right here, all over South Florida, trying to inform people, hey, it's time to vote, it's time to vote, it's time to vote. Have you voted already? If not, that's okay. You still have all day on Saturday and all day on Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in most of our counties. You can vote. Early voting ends this Sunday. No voting on Monday, and then election day is on Tuesday, right? So early voting all day Saturday, all day Sunday, no voting on Monday, and then election day where you have to vote at your assigned precinct based on your address. You have to look it up on your supervisor of elections. If you don't know, your precinct may have changed, but you have to go to your assigned voting place and location on Tuesday. But during early vote, you can go to any of them. So I encourage you to get out. Right now on the community forum, we have Miss Dana Marie Foster. She's running for governor of the state of Florida. She's here telling us about what she would do if elected. I'm going to pivot now to education and ask her, since Florida has expanded school choice programs while continuing to debate the future of public education, what is your vision for Florida's educational system, and how would you ensure that every child, regardless of where they live,
across the state every single day of the school year? And so what we have to do is ensure that we're supporting our teachers, making sure that schools have the resources that they need, that we're giving students the opportunities to go to college, create those pathways to achieving careers, and also technical training where needed. And so the way that we want to bring about the change that we need is making sure that public education is fully funded, and most importantly, it's protected. And right now, what we're seeing within the Department of Education is that there is a board that has voted to adopt the Phoenix Declaration. And the Phoenix Declaration outlines the ability for religion to come back into our classrooms. It outlines for and creates a pathway for what we're actually currently seeing right now in high schools across this entire state. And mind you, the Phoenix Declaration comes directly out of Project 2025. And so right now within school systems, we are seeing the FACT, so that's FACT, the FACT program. And the FACT program is offering a FACT U.S. history class to high school students across the entire state. And it gives them an opportunity to take FACT U.S. history instead of AP U.S. history, so that they are able to take a course, and I put this in quotes, even though y'all can't see me, to provide factually accurate curriculum to combat the woke agenda. Now, what does that mean? That means that they are trying to censor or downplay the history of this country. And when we talk about what part of history, it's our history as a Black community and what has happened in the past. And so what we have to ensure is that we're putting our students first. We have to ensure that we're protecting public education. We have to ensure that we're not allowing it to be privatized. And we also have to ensure that we have the necessary safeguards in place. And so one key feature that I want to ensure that takes place underneath the Foster administration is that underneath the Department of Education, we have an independent curriculum commission. And what that means is that we would have a commission of professionals that are from the educational background, and they are able to create curriculum for our state that is free from partisan politics, that is actually about the facts and accurate information that has taken place across our history, and making sure that we have curriculum that essentially challenges our students so that they can be the best that they can be, so that our state is no longer 50th or dead last in the nation when it comes to our scores, and also teacher pay as well, and making sure that we are implementing the necessary tax reformation, like closing corporate tax loopholes, so that we have the money to actually invest in public education and make sure that our teachers are being paid exactly the salaries that they deserve.
Thank you. I'm here with Miss Dana Foster. This is a special community forum. Anyone can call, ask her a question if you'd like. She's running for governor, y'all. If you haven't voted yet, it is time. Right now is early voting all day on Saturday, all day on Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7. 10 a.m. to 7. Wherever you live in Florida, just look up your early voting locations, right? Supervisor of election, and put your county in, and you can vote early. No voting on Monday. And remember, Tuesday, August 18th, is election day. So that is your very last chance to decide who goes on to the November election. This is the primaries, and it's not a very long ballot. I just came back from voting. It took me maybe not even 5 minutes. Quick bubbles, maybe 10 bubbles, and you're out of there. We're encouraging you. Don't, just go by yourself. Take 5, take 10, and go vote. We're here with Miss Dana Marie Foster. I want to ask you, ma'am, now about small businesses. We have about 15 more minutes, so I want to get a few more questions in if I can. Small businesses are the backbone of Florida's economy. What policies would you pursue to help small businesses survive these rising costs, find good workers, access capital, and create better paying jobs?
Mm-hmm. So what we have to ensure is that in our state, we are improving access to financial capital, that we are mitigating and reducing any barriers that are in place for our small businesses and entrepreneurs, that we are investing in workforce development, such as areas like climate resiliency and clean energy, that also helps us to tie over into making sure that we have environmental protections and we're taking the necessary steps to preserve our home and making sure we're taking care of the ground that we walk on and the air that we breathe. We also need to ensure that we are helping our small businesses find employees as well, and just bridging the and creating the opportunities. And so what we have to ensure is that we are, where we're able to as a state government, helping our constituents in something that's actually outlined within our state constitution. Our state constitution says that we are all entitled to the pursuit of happiness. And I think across the board, we are seeing that not many of us Floridians can actually sit here and truthfully say that I, yes, am embarking in this pursuit of happiness. Right now, we are all in the space of trying to survive, and it's exhausting. But when you have the correct leaders in place that are going to ensure that they know that if our economy is going to remain strong, we have to ensure that our small businesses can actually survive and thrive and continue to grow.
Thank you. I'm here with Miss Dana Marie Foster. She's on the ballot. Y'all, it's time to vote. Early voting will take place all day tomorrow, Saturday, all day Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. if you're in Broward County. I think it's about the same in Miami-Dade. All over the state, it's time to vote. Bring a friend. Make sure your household, your cousin, your sisters, your auntie, them, everybody needs to head to the polls, guys. This is why we're doing this in this special time in the middle of drive time. You guys want music, and we're going to get back to the music just shortly. But right now, it's our community forum. I'm your hostess, Suzette Speaks. I'm doing double duty today. I held one this morning for people who are running for Congressional District 20. That's Central and North Central Broward County. Those are people who want to represent you in Washington, D.C. And right now I have Miss Dana Marie Foster. She's trying to represent you in Tallahassee as governor. So as I continue our conversation, you can call us 850-446-0562 if you have any comments about what she shared, want to ask her a question, or just in general about current state of affairs. It's a community open forum. Call now. Like Miss Cleo used to say, call me now. 850-446-0562. She wants to talk to you. You can also WhatsApp us any questions you have. 75782-VOICE. 75782-86423. I want to ask you now as we shift to public safety. Floridians want safe communities. While, we want fairness in government, we want to make sure that, we're balancing all interests. How would you address violent crime, gun violence, also drug addiction, and maybe other community safety issues while ensuring equal treatment under the law?
Absolutely. And so what we have to see is a shift within our law enforcement and making sure that we have effective law enforcement, not one that creates fear and injustice within our communities. We have to address the issues that are contributing to crime, which includes addiction as well as lack of opportunity. What we also want to do as it relates to gun violence within our state is make sure that we have the necessary reformations in place, making sure that we are creating policies that are saving lives and creating safer communities. One key piece of legislation that I will be advocating for as governor is the creation of a safe storage law, which would require firearm owners to ensure that their firearms are in a safe within their home if they have minors that live within the home, or red flags that live within their home. And so a red flag is just an individual deemed by the court as being a liability, so to speak, as it relates to being around firearms. They are not able to have possession of one. And what we have to remember is that public safety works when our communities trust the people that are at the helm for protecting them. And what they have to also remember is that they are serving we the people, right? So it's a little bit of a culture shift that needs to take place, and just ultimately making sure that everyone is treated fairly underneath the law.
So we're going to pivot because I know we're almost out of time. We have about 10 more minutes with Miss Dana Marie Foster. Dana Marie Foster is running for governor in the state of Florida. This is our special guest, and if you want to call in and ask her a question or give us your commentary about this year's primary elections, it's an open forum. Call me now. You can call me 850-446-0562. I just went and did my early voting duty. It took me less than 5 minutes. All you need is an ID and several different types of ID. If you have a debit card, something with your signature preferably, and if you have a state employee ID, if you work for a state, federal, municipal, or military ID. Hey, everybody online watching, I'm here with this lovely lady. She has called in to give us some more information about who she is and why she decided to run for governor. I'm going to pivot and ask you about Florida's future. Florida's population is growing rapidly and putting pressure on transportation, water supplies, housing. You know, they buying up the houses, moving from up north, all of that. And what do you believe is the biggest challenge Florida will face over the next decade with everybody who is now coming to the state, and what would you do about it?
I think the biggest challenge is ensuring that the growth doesn't exceed
Doug, how are you? I'm so tired. What's up? I look crazy. I'm tired. Second interview, I had a 90-minute forum, or second forum for the day.
And so
I had a 90-minute forum earlier. I'm back. This one was supposed to be 30 minutes. She's still talking, and it's fine. But because of the election, they have me doing some extra interviews throughout the weekend with those who are seeking elected office. Wherever you are, if you have early voting, I hope you voted, and I hope you will continue to vote. Hey, what's up, Doug? I'm going to have to ramp up, Doug, because first of all, salute to you, sir, for being a day one supporter. But I'm going to have to try to get myself back monetized before end of December, because they're changing the rules for YouTube going forward. So I'm going to be doing more evenings, I think. I was supposed to start like this weekend. So if you see me pop up, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get more views, watch hours. I have the subscribers, but I need to get my watch hours up. So thank you, Miss Dana. She's giving us some great information. This is Miss Dana Foster. She is running for governor of the state of Florida. She's telling us what she would do for you. That's why we're having this community forum right here on Voice of the Caribbean. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Miss Suzette Speaks. We're almost out of time, but I have a couple more questions for you if you have time, my dear. I'd like to ask you about hurricanes, because we haven't had any this year so far, knock on wood, but a lot of people from the Panhandle to South Florida are, nervous because we face flooding and other climate risks. Can you tell us what investments the state of Florida should make now in infrastructure against flood protection, and what should we be doing as far as emergency preparedness and disaster recovery before the next major storm hits?
We have to ensure kind of tying in my answer from the previous question, is that we are making the plans from now. We shouldn't be.
I got to pay attention to what she's saying
after a
too.
hurricane has taken place to figure out what went wrong or what we should have done. No, like those plans need to be in place beforehand. And so a resilient Florida is one that prepares before the storm arrives. And so I want to ensure as governor that we are making the investments from now in those areas like you mentioned, such as flood protection and emergency response and having stronger infrastructure so that we're being responsible. There is a lack of responsibility that we're currently seeing, especially when the current governor takes our emergency response funds to build Alligator Alcatraz to house, immigrants from our communities and mistreating them when these monies were for areas like this, as we just mentioned, to ensure that we are being responsible and we are thinking ahead and that we're not waiting until the last minute to prioritize the people of this state whenever we are in a position of an emergency.
Thank you. Ms. Dana Foster, I have one more question for you. If you're just joining, it's the Suzette Speaks show. The time is now 7:53 in the city. This is her last question, y'all. She has to go, but I'm so grateful she spent some time with us here on the Voice of the Caribbean special edition of Community Forum. We're here to inform our community about what's happening, and what's happening right now is voting. If you haven't voted, bring 5, bring 10. Your auntie, your cousin, them, your household, your son, your daughter, your grandma, your baby sister, whoever. We need to show up in numbers because, as you can see, with everything going on in the world, the economy, overseas, if you don't like what you see, your voice needs to be heard at the polls. So right now, early voting is all day. Saturday, you can go out tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in most polling locations. You do not have to go to your assigned location during early voting. The last day of early voting is Sunday. So you have a chance this weekend to get out to the polls Saturday and Sunday. Anywhere you want, those polling sites are open. Early voting, you just have to have your ID with you. And I'll go over real quick the ID that is accepted at the early voting locations. But we also wanted to let you know who is running. That's why we have this lady. She is here to make sure the people, especially those of us in the Caribbean American community, know who she is, why she's running, and her name is Miss Dana Marie Foster. Her final question for this community forum, I'm going to leave you with this. If you're elected governor, what are the 3 specific things you promise Floridians you will accomplish during your first year in office? And what should voters use to determine whether you kept those promises?
Absolutely. So the 3 main areas that I have always said take a priority are going to be affordability.
I think Alligator Alcatraz shut down, Doug. I think they're no longer funding it because we didn't get any reimbursement funds from the feds as promised. I should correct her on that, but I'm not going to do it. We are about to wrap up with her. She really was supposed to be more like a 30 minutes, but that's okay. But I think she got her say. And we want to, hopefully, I was hoping we can get some calls because it's drive time, but people are probably at home on a Friday ready for the music. So that's what they're going to be getting after this.
Here. And what we have to ensure is that we have a leader for our state that is going to ensure that they are serving our communities and bringing us back together to a space where we're treating one another like human beings. We are in a humanitarian crisis across this state, this country, and the entire world. And so there's a certain sense of healing that needs to take place. And that first step in that healing is making sure that we have a leader that is going to help bring us all together. I also want to ensure that I notate one promise that I've actually made on record to Equal Ground Florida. They requested, and of course, without any hesitation, I signed the pact.
I see that comment. You're right, Doug. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but I don't know. These people stress me out.
Fighting for our
elected office. Hey.
We currently see that Republicans in Tallahassee voted to adopt their own version here in Florida of the SAVE Act, which they're still trying to push at the federal level. And Florida Republicans were so ambitious that they wanted to draft their own version. Well, it's time that here in Florida, we Democrats draft our version of a Voting Rights Act to ensure that we're putting our voting rights back into the hands of we the people, ensuring that we're protecting our democracy, and ensuring that we are essentially taking our government and our state back. And so the way that I would say voters will be able to monitor this progress is simply just walk.
My hair had mousse and was wet and curly, but it's been going all day, so it's a little bit dry and afro-y, but we gonna rock it.
Accessible and available for town halls. And the people of the state will never have to worry about how they are going to be able to get in touch with me as their governor or being able to voice their concerns to me as their governor, because I will be accessible and I will be transparent, and they will be able to monitor my progress the whole way through. And if I ever face any roadblocks, I will be transparent enough to let them know this is what I'm facing, and if I need their help as constituents to make sure that they are voicing their concerns to their local elected officials that represent them in the state legislature, I will do that as well.
Thank you, Ms. Dana Marie Foster. We're out of time. Will you leave us real quick with your website? If anyone wants to find out more information about Dana Marie Foster, who's running for governor, she's on the ballot right now. You can vote for her. Where can they find more information about you?
Yes. So our website is fosterforflorida.com. So FOSTER Florida.com. And you'll be able to read up about myself as a candidate, a little bit more about my policy proposals. You'll also see links to our social media pages where you'll be able to watch some of the other interviews that I've done over the last year. I've been in this race since last year, August. So it's come full circle now, and we advocate for igniting the blue flame in our state and just offering something different to registered Democrats, a part of the Democratic Party. We've been underneath this tyranny, led government for 30 years, and Democrats have tried the same plan over and over again, and we still haven't been successful. And we got to try something different, and that different path that we need to take is a vote for me, Dana Marie Foster.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. That's our time. We appreciate you calling today's Voice of the Caribbean Community Forum. Thank you so much, and good luck. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Absolutely. We appreciate her. Guys, we're almost out of time. We thank you for listening. We want to tell you what are the acceptable forms of IDs that you can bring with you to the polls, because where are you going this weekend? I know you're going to hang out, but you got to vote. It's early voting. That's why we took the time out of our busy drive time on a Friday. Well, this is the Friday before Election Day. So that's why Voice of the Caribbean wanted you to know that you can get out there and make your voice heard. If you don't like the economy, you don't like grocery prices, you don't like gas prices, you don't like the way the policy overseas is going, this is your time to make your voice heard. If you're going to the polls, what kind of ID can you bring with you? Florida driver's license, the Florida ID card issued by the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Highway Safety Motor Vehicles. There we go, DHSMV, the Highway Safety Motor Vehicles Florida ID. The U.S. passport can also be used as an ID at the polls. Not to mention, if you have a debit or credit card, a military ID, a student ID also is acceptable at the polls. Retirement center IDs, neighborhood association IDs. Plus, you can also use a public assistance ID, veteran ID, concealed weapons license, and more. You guys get out to vote. This has been Suzette Speaks with your community forum. More music after this. Let's go.
D2 Miami, simulcasting on 96.9 FM, the voice of the Caribbean. This is the all-new voice of the Caribbean. Better sounding radio. WLYF HD2 Miami, 101.5 HD2.
Today's uncertain times,
I hope it was interesting. I'm like, it's the worst time. People want music.
Than ever.
But I mean, you got to bring it back. Yeah, people need awareness. Is very important.
Well, I'm done. I promise you that. Let me turn off this stream. You want the stream out? Want to say hi to these people?
Personal injury and commercial.
No, you can turn it
off.
Yeah, you can.
Fight for your
I say, hey, how you doing? All right, I'll see y'all later. Yeah. All right, go on. Suzette did all the work. Bring it in.
Bye, guys. I have a YouTube up too. Shout out to Shotty Reds coming in.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys. Listen, they'll be here all night, but I got to eat some. Bye.
That's 95.4 358.